We're back with another episode of Today and Tomorrow in Scottsdale with Don Henniger and Kevin Maxwell. And Kevin, we've been off for a couple of weeks, but we're back now, and we've got a super guest to bring us back to.
This is a really good one. I'm glad that we had a chance to have our guest today when we have her on, because it was a perfect time for us.
Absolutely perfect time. Our guest is Claudia Chavez. She's the executive director of STARS. That's the Scottsdale Training and Rehabilitation Services. Claudia took on her new role just last July. But she's been a vital part of STARS since she joined the organization in 2011.
2011, yeah. 2011. It'll be 14 years this April.
She's had various roles there, most recently serving as the director of operations.
Prior to executive director,
so
yes.
You know STARS all sorts of ways, ins and outs, right? So the goal of STARS is to improve the lives of people with cognitive and developmental disabilities. So Claudia, as we get started talking about STARS, let's talk about you for a couple of seconds first.
Absolutely.
Give us a little of your background, where you grew up, how you got to Arizona, and just more about the inside story of Claudia.
Of course, and thank you for having me here. It's a privilege to share the STARS story.
Yeah.
My name is Claudia, as you mentioned. I grew up in Mexico. I was born in Baja California, but I grew up in the state of Chihuahua in a small town called Nuevo Casas Grandes, a small agricultural town. So I lived there until the age of 7. My family immigrated to Arizona at that time and grew up in Arizona ever since. Still have a lot of roots in Mexico, northern Mexico, but consider myself a native. Grew up in Phoenix, went to Camelback High School.
Okay.
Then went on to ASU, where I double majored in French and psychology. Then I took a slight professional pivot. I thought I wanted to be a physician. I went on to medical school at the University of Arizona in Tucson for a few years.
Yeah, Dr. Chavez has a nice ring to it, you know? Yeah.
That's right. But learned pretty early on that was not my path. And took a step back and found STARS, and have been with STARS ever since.
Now you're healing souls rather than just fixing broken bones, right?
That's right.
Did you say you majored in French?
I did, yeah.
So do you speak 3 languages, or how do you speak?
Yes, French is a little rusty, as you can imagine.
All right.
But yes, my native tongue is Spanish. I learned English when I moved to Arizona. Got thrown into the education system. There were no ESL classes back then.
Of course, right?
Yeah,
right.
So you just kind of figure it out. But when you're
your
young,
own.
you figure it out.
Yeah, young and resilient, right?
That's right. And yeah, all throughout high school, took French because I knew Spanish, so I take Spanish.
Yeah.
And then I majored in it at ASU.
I took French in college. I don't remember a darn thing.
No.
I remember how I can say I don't speak French. That's about the only thing I can say in French.
Je ne parle pas français. There you go.
Exactly. So let's talk about STARS. Give us an overview of STARS, kind of its mission, and what you're doing for the community.
So our mission is to improve the lives of those with disabilities. Differently abled is what we like to say. Just
differently able?
Differently able.
I love that term.
That's right. That's right. So altogether, we serve a little over 200 clients. Okay. But we've been a part of the Scottsdale community for going on 52 years.
Wow.
We were created by a group of, actually, Mrs. Mary King, who was an employee of the city of Scottsdale, worked for the city manager's office, was tasked early on in her career to do some research and see what services were available for families in Scottsdale with individuals with disabilities. So she created a task force. She was supported by the mayor at the time, which was, I believe, Mayor Gentry.
Okay.
Is that before Drinkwater then, I guess?
Yes, because Mr. Drinkwater was a council member at that time.
Wow. Yeah, that makes sense.
So she did her due diligence, created, a report that was published in the Scottsdale newspaper. Basically, there were no services, nothing available for those families. So then a volunteer group came together as a result of that publication in that newspaper, and that became our founding group, the Godmothers or Las Madrinas. So a group of mothers came together and okay, there's no services here. Let's create our own, and that's how STARS came to be.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is Mrs. King still with us?
She is. She's still on our board.
Really?
Is she really?
She is.
Wow.
Yes,
That's
her name is familiar. The name is definitely familiar.
Mary
Do you know
King.
her?
Yeah. Well, I've seen her a couple times.
Yeah.
For some reason, I thought that she was not in good health, but that's great.
No, she's doing great.
That's
and
great.
She's very active, very passionate. She came out right before the holiday with her husband, Mr. King, and some volunteers and did some Christmas caroling for our members. So,
is that right?
Yeah, she is just a joy. Just a joy. She is the reason we're here. And it's an honor to be able to, know her and be able to share her story.
And have her on your board and everything. That's cool. Yeah.
Now, don't you guys feel a void, if you will? I guess that Scottsdale School District can take children or students with developmental delays. I'm not probably saying that correctly, but they go to school, don't they? But when they graduate from school, there's no place for them to go. So
Correct. Right? So typically they'll age out of the school system at 22, or they have the option to. Of course, they can graduate earlier than that. But we are a place where families can go as part of that transition, right? Like they want to either support their child to search for employment opportunities, which is something that we're very good at, or finding just programs for them to enhance their just life skills, general life skills, independence, be a group that can be a social support system, not just for the members, but for the parents too. I think, in the time that I've worked with STARS, it's not just about supporting the members, it's about supporting the guardians.
Yeah, caregivers, right?
Yes.
Yeah, sure. That makes sense. So you do training programs for them too?
No, but we're a place where we can support them with resources, direction, and just the fact that we can provide a level of support where they know that when they're with us, their loved ones are in good hands.
That's great.
It's kind of like a form of respite.
It is,
right?
Yeah.
Even though you probably don't call it respite.
We don't. We do have a service that's called respite.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
So how many programs? You have a lot of programs,
We do. So we have we have various employment services. So we have four employment programs, and they're at different levels, different stages, depending on the profile of the individual. If they need something that's a little bit more supportive, or they need more supervision, more hands-on involvement, then they can come to our program here that you've toured, right? Where we bring the work to the client.
Right.
We partner with businesses and we supervise the individuals as they develop those job skills, earn a paycheck. Once they're ready to transition out to a community position, then we have partnerships with over 80 employers throughout the Valley, not just Scottsdale.
80?
Yes, sir. So if they want to go into a fast food service, if they want to go to the airport, if they want to go to a hotel industry, really the sky's the limit. We engage with our individuals one-on-one. What's unique about what we do is we want to know it's not just about finding whatever job, right? It's about finding a job that suits your needs, what you want to do, where do you see yourself as just like any of us, right? We want to do a job that we enjoy, that we aspire to. And that's our goal, is to match individuals with what they envision for themselves.
Now, are some of your clients, once they get find a position, as they develop more skills and more capabilities, are they able to move on to other things that may give them more opportunities? Do you see that? Them like rising that little internal ladder?
It's very much a progression. So first step, they partner with us on site. We feel like they're ready to progress to a community position where they will have the support of we call them a job coach. They'll have one of our employees with them throughout the shift for multiple days, as many days as they feel comfortable. Once they're ready to phase out and just, hey, I'm good. I know the ins and outs of the company I work for. I'm comfortable with this team. We will phase out, I should say, and then let them fly and
so
be
they go
independent.
every day and yeah, okay.
Yeah. So depending, we could check in on them once a month, once a week, every day. It really depends on where they're at.
It's all individualized. Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. So 50 years plus, how has STARS evolved over the years to sort of meet the changing community needs here in Scottsdale and beyond? How have you evolved?
We've evolved in that we're really, we've seen a lot of inclusion. I mean, in terms of, I don't know what your experience was growing up, but mine, I didn't have a relative, a family member that grew up in this population.
Right.
When I reflect and think back about my time in high school, I don't even remember seeing the kids that were in the special education system.
Yeah.
Where were they? They were kind of
off to the side,
isolated
weren't they? Yeah, they
in their
were.
own behind the scenes, right?
Yeah.
So we've really worked really hard to bring our population to the forefront, to be included, to be seen. We're no longer kind of out of sight, out of mind, right? So that's really the thing that I think I'm really proud of, where we've seen that evolution, where it's not, we're part of the community and we should be seen, we should be heard. But yet I'm here today because not a lot of folks know of STARS within Scottsdale.
We aim to change that.
We
definitely.
That's the whole reason we're here today.
Exactly.
That's
so
right.
what are the ages of the people that you work with? All over the place? Or?
No, typically adults.
Adults, okay.
So 18 and up.
18 and up, okay. So maybe you could share one or two of your favorite success stories that you've experienced over the last couple of years.
There's a lot. One person that comes to mind, when I started with Stars, there was this young lady named Mandy who was part of the program on site, and she was just so pleasant and focused, and we kept asking, Mandy, you're ready to go on, take that next step, you're ready to go to, have a job in the community, and we want to see you, take that next step. And it took a while, it took some prompting, and eventually we convinced Mandy that she was she was ready to go. We placed her at a position at the Fry's right down the road.
Okay.
And that was really all she needed to kind of broaden her horizon, so to speak. Now she's living independently.
Fantastic.
She did not live on her own for most of her life. And then now, once she took that step and saw, really, I'm capable of being an independent woman, to see that she's now has her own apartment, takes public transportation to get to and from, wherever she needs to go.
Yeah.
So to me, I just seeing that progression of like, okay, wow, this is someone I don't even, she might be the manager for all we know at Fry's at this point.
Kevin, we're going to need a box of tissues here. We can talk about these stories.
I told you there's going to be stories.
You shared an incredible story. Could I put you on the spot?
Share that story, Kevin. It's a good one.
And well, I was
get the tissues out though first.
I was in Scottsdale leadership, class 29. You were 33 and you were 30, right?
32.
Yes. So 32. Okay, so we were all anyway. When I was in Scottsdale leadership, we had the day where we toured the Stars facility and got a chance to meet some of those individuals who were in one of your programs who got a chance to do some work to make some life meaningful, right?
Yeah.
They were in the program with Cox Communications, where their job was to separate remotes. They start them, they just separate them with working, non-working, and that's the value to Cox.
Yeah.
Right. Cox gets value out of that because it's a service they need to have performed. And your clients can perform that thing for them. And then on the other end, they get a chance to earn a little paycheck. And it was great. So we toured your facility on the day they got their paychecks.
Oh man!
On a Friday, and
payday.
Yeah, payday. Who doesn't like pay? Even everybody likes payday.
Of course.
So we got there on payday, and this I say young woman, but she might have been 25.
Yeah.
Came up to me and was very excited to show me her paycheck and thrilled that she had gotten a paycheck, and I was thrilled for her. And I said, "That's great." And I asked her the question. A very simple question was like, what are you going to do with your paycheck?
Right.
Which seems to be a benign type question, but I was not prepared for what she told me. And that was that she wanted to buy her mom some ice cream. Wanted to buy her mom an ice cream cone. And that was impactful to me because I thought somewhere out there's a woman. I've never met her mother. I don't know where she is or who she is, but somewhere out there, I was thinking about the parents and the burden that they must have to carry their entire lives. That whoever her mom is woke up every single day of this young lady's life and took care of her and prepared her and clothed her and fed her and got her to your program so that she could learn some skills, all so that she could get this paycheck so that she could turn around and pay her mom back with a ice cream cone. And I thought that was the most meaningful thing I'd ever heard in my life.
Yeah.
It was just extremely impactful for me. And that happened 10, 12 years ago. Yeah. And that little interaction with one of your clients at Stars has propelled me into the community service that I've been able to do
Incredible.
today.
Incredible.
Isn't that a hell of a story? Wow.
And that's just one of...
That's one of 1,000 stories. It probably happens every day. Yes. I mean, I bet you have stories like that happen all day long, every single day.
Yes.
So that's just one little one.
And part of what is unique in our service, in our industry too, is that we have the privilege of engaging with these folks for a lifetime, right? So we had a lady, her name was Diane. She was in that program that you toured, but she did not want to retire. She was there until the age of 85.
Oh my gosh.
What?
Would refuse to, we were like, Miss Diane, because we would call her Miss Diane. Miss Diane, really, you got to take it easy. You have to. But she would not, she would refuse. She was like, no, this is my job. This is, and she was not only, she took her job seriously, but you could tell that this was the place that for her was more than just a job she had. Friends and just a place to really engage and connect with folks. And she did not retire. She passed away a few years ago, but
Is that right?
refused to retire.
So what are some of the other employers? You mentioned Fry's, you mentioned Cox. You said you have 80, which I didn't have any idea.
Yeah.
But what are some of the other jobs or skills that, for example, what are the ones you have in-house when employers come to you? What kind of skills?
We have another partnership with another nonprofit called Hospice of the Valley.
Oh.
So our folks actually assemble all of their informational packets that they distribute to their patients and their families. So it's been a long-standing partnership, but yeah, every week we get an order from hospice. This week we need X number of packets for this particular program. And I think about that sometimes too. Like the folks that are receiving this information are in a very vulnerable position, right?
Yeah.
They're facing some end of life situations, some emotional, just experiences, and our folks have the privilege of putting together important information for them that they have to review, understand. So that's just one. We used to have a lot more seasonal partnerships. Board of Visitors was another organization we worked with every year. We would bundle their care card information. I don't know if you're familiar with that. Once a year in October, they would partner with Scottsdale Fashion Square, all of the retailers, and do a retail program where you could get all of these discounts on this week, and we would assemble all of that information for them. So over time, we need more partners. Really, realistically, we're very grateful for our partnership with Cox and Hospice of the Valley, but we can do more. We have a very dedicated workforce. We have individuals that are very
I guess if somebody goes to 85 and doesn't want to retire, that's a pretty dedicated workforce. When you say
that's true,
you bet.
Yeah. So always looking for more work opportunities, but those are two that have been consistently.
Do you guys still have your gala, or what you guys? Don't you guys have a major event?
We did. Year? So we celebrated our 50th anniversary with a big gala. We took a break last year. It was a lot of effort, a lot of resources and attention. I shared with you a history book that we put together as part of that event. We will be launching more events, but as of right now, there's not an established event, but that's in the works.
It's coming.
Yes.
Reviving it.
Yes. We had for many years a fashion show.
I was just, I've been to that. That's what I was getting at. I've been to that.
Yeah. Have you been? Yeah. We have some board members that are looking to bring that back. So it was an event where we would put our participants on the runway. Nice. And it was actually a very official, I don't know which one you attended, but we hosted one at Scottsdale Fashion Square, and they walked the runway along with actual fashion models side by side, and just to see our folks just walk in the runway. No one can work a runway like a STARS participant, let me tell you.
Smile. You can't get a smile on your face and those kids, those folks. That's great.
Yeah. So you will get an invite as soon as one is
look forward to that.
One is confirmed.
Talk a little bit about the business of STARS. How you're funded, how you were able to do things, your resources, and maybe a little bit about what you could use from the community in terms of helping to grow your programs.
Yeah, no, thank you. So we're funded primarily through, I would say 90% of our clientele is funded for our services through the state. So typically folks have to go through an assessment process, and they will have to they have to have one of 5 qualifying diagnoses before the age of 3, essentially, right? So once that process is established, then they are able to receive support and resources from DES, Department of Economic Security, a subset of that, which is known as a Division of Developmental Disabilities. So we're contracted with them to provide these services. We're reimbursed. So our clients don't pay anything out of pocket.
Oh, that's great.
If they're eligible and go through that process. We have a handful of folks that were not diagnosed at birth. They had some other challenge in their life, maybe a traumatic brain injury. We have a few folks that, were injured on the job and, are now able to receive.
So how does that work? If they weren't diagnosed before they were 3, how do they get in your program later on? Can they requalify, or are there other avenues?
Their workmen, private pay, their employers pay for
Oh,
their
that's
services.
good. Yeah, right. Yeah.
But I mean that you never know.
Yeah.
It's life will bring throw a lot of things your way, and
Sure.
but yeah, if folks are not eligible for services either because they just moved to the state, you have to establish your
Right.
residency and all of that. They can pay private pay for our
Okay.
services, but it's pretty rare that
Do you do
happens.
other fundraising to support your programs and so forth?
Yeah, so we're
Yeah.
actually always looking for donors.
Mhm.
We have a lot of requests for grants, fundraising efforts. So yeah, we're always looking to raise what we can't. As you can imagine, the rates are not quite what we would
Government
need
rates.
them to be.
Yeah,
Yeah.
government, huh?
So that's always a challenge. But yeah, fundraising is the next area where we make up for that.
How's your staff? I mean, what kind of staff do you have? A fundraising staff too? Fundraising people?
You're looking
And
at it right
she's
over
she's
there.
sitting off camera. Okay, very good.
So I'm pointing. I don't know if you can see
Say her
visually,
name,
but
say.
with us today is our development associate, Ms. Bailey Lane.
Bailey Lane. So Bailey's
Yeah.
watching that. Hi, Bailey.
How many people work at Stars? What's your
So we
impact
have
level?
65 employees.
Do you really?
Yeah.
That's a good size. That's a good size operation.
Yeah,
And you do transportation. You go
We
pick.
do.
Yeah, you go pick them up and bring them.
We do. We actually have a fundraising campaign. That's the focus of our annual campaign for this year is to support the transportation service because
Mhm.
it's over time we've had to go further out, right, to bring the folks to our programs. I would say the majority aren't Scottsdale residents.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. So we
Hmm.
have a lot of folks that are from the Valley, West Valley, East Valley,
Sure.
and we will pick up transport, but it's quite an expensive.
I bet. How far do you go to
Operation.
get somebody to bring them to your facility every day?
So the further we have a few folks that we go about 30 miles each way.
Is that right?
Yeah.
All in the valley, pretty much. All in the
Yeah.
county. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's a big county.
It yes.
Lots of
Wow.
room out there for
Yes.
sure. So looking ahead, the next couple of 5 years or so, where do you see Stars going? What's your growth plan? What's your
my
vision, your strategy,
gosh.
and your vision for the future?
My gosh. Well, I want to buy the building next to our building.
Okay.
really?
Don't tell them, but
Well,
yeah,
and you just recently moved, right? Not recently or not, but you're now in Old Town Scottsdale.
we've been in Old Town Scottsdale.
Have you been there? Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So we're right across from the Giant Stadium.
Okay.
So we've been there for quite a while. I think I mentioned to you that building was gifted to us by the city of Scottsdale.
Nice.
So we're very lucky.
Yeah.
But we've outgrown it. We were actually hit by a pretty severe flood in August at that location.
What, a pipe
Past
break? Or,
office?
Yes.
a pipe break or what?
No. So there was some construction that happened
Uh-huh.
by our neighbor, and
Right.
it impacted
Oh, no.
our side and
Yeah. Oh.
water. It was pretty
That's not nice.
gnarly.
That's
And
not
like
good.
a month into my
Executive
my train-
directorship, right?
Yeah.
Right. Hello, boss. Welcome to work. Yeah.
but we've moved past that, and I want to. It really pointed out that that we need a lot of work to be done to that building. It has good bones, but
Yeah.
we need to. It needs to reflect all of the activity, the passion, the folks that are in that
Yeah.
building.
Yeah.
We've outgrown it. So
If you need space, you got to find space somewhere,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
that's right.
You got your eyes on anything?
Still
Okay.
good.
All right. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. No, but beyond that, I mean, we have a ton of programs that we're looking to grow. The employment services program, sky's the limit.
Yeah.
We want to partner with as many businesses as are willing to partner with us and place our folks into great, good job opportunities. We're looking to relaunch an art program. Art was always a big part of our story.
Right.
And I think you mentioned again a story where you were walking through and
Impacted by the people doing artwork. It was fantastic.
Yes.
And then you used to sell some of that artwork
Yes.
at the event. Yeah.
Yeah, so we want to bring that back and really enter the digital space. So
Okay.
we want to launch a social enterprise with our folks where we're some of the history that we've collected over the years, photo albums, artwork. We're gonna have our folks really scan and digitize, and we think there's a really good opportunity there for a new social enterprise for that. So
That's
wow.
great. So 200 clients now. Can you see that expanding in the years ahead? 300,
yeah.
400? How many could you?
Yeah.
How many could you actually? How many would you like to handle if you could?
So if we could, if I had a genie in a bottle,
Right.
I think we could double in size.
Really?
Yeah.
That's fabulous.
Yeah.
You're going to need
And maybe I'm thinking small, but to me,
No,
like,
no,
double in size.
doubling is good.
It's hard to get support people to support that because it takes, you said you have 65 employees. It takes a special person to be able to work and be able to do the kind of work that's necessary to support those individuals.
Yeah.
Like that, right? So
Yeah,
it's
it's a
probably
very-
hard to find.
It is. I think you will find that the folks that are with stars have a very, very special character to them. There's a passion
Yeah.
behind what they do.
Makes sense.
There's a reason why they're doing the work that they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
It's because it's the connection that we make with our clientele. When I transitioned and started my role with stars, never did I think I was going to be here for 14 years. But
Yeah.
the moment I walked in for my job interview and walked through that break room and was able to interact and talk to Diane and talk to, I'm like,
Gotcha, didn't it?
they got me. They got me.
Yeah,
That's exactly
yeah.
right. Yeah.
So how can the community, like two questions, how can the community do a better job or more support for your group? And then how can the community react to disabled folks in ways that are more meaningful? What are some lessons we can share with the community on that?
I think sharing our story is really powerful. I think being, if you're a business owner, if you're someone that is willing to take a chance and employ one of our folks, I think you will find that it's a gem in terms of not only are you changing the life of an individual, but they're going to change your life.
Yeah,
They're
exactly.
going to bring a passion
Yeah.
and a joy that you didn't even think you needed or
Yep.
was missing,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So that's one way. If you think that there's a way that you can employ one of our individuals, that's a
That's
huge
a good one. Yeah.
volunteer.
Yeah.
If you just kind of want to test the waters and see what we're about, come take a tour.
Okay. That sounds good too. Yeah.
Donate. That's always
Of
a great.
course. Of course.
Yeah.
Come on. What's your
Yeah,
website?
I may not be pushing the donation enough over there.
Well,
I think
let's get their website out here anyway. What's the website so people go to your website?
www.starsaz.org.
Starsaz.org. Okay, that
Yes.
sounds good. You're changing lives. The thing that strikes me most, I think, about what your work is, you're not just changing the lives of your clients, you're changing the lives of everybody who interacts with them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're on the board of Family Promise, and that's one of the calling cards for what we do with that group is we change the lives of people that are hosting our families, and it changes their lives.
Mm-hmm.
So you're changing not just your clients' lives, but you're changing the lives of people who come in contact with them, and I think it's really powerful.
Absolutely.
That's really
So
powerful.
our motto is changing lives through opportunity.
Yeah.
Not only are you doing that for a clientele, but I feel like we do a really good job of having that mission and focus for our employees too. So
Yeah.
if you think about, we love to develop our talent. I mean, Bailey, who's here as a guest, myself, like we have grown with this organization and we've been given opportunities. And so I think it's a reflection of who we are and what we do. And yeah, you're spot on. You're impacting the member's life, but there's a whole network.
You're impacting the community.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's a big picture, and that's really cool to see it getting done that way. Kevin, we got to go take a tour.
We need to go back and take another tour. And
You've done one. I've not had one.
Let's go.
Yeah.
If you never been, we gotta go. I'll go with you.
Yep,
Let's go together.
I'll
Make
go.
a point of
But
it.
bring your tissues.
Yeah, I know.
Bring your tissues.
I got a big box. Don't worry.
But it's a good cry. It's
Yeah, of course it is.
Yeah. You're just so
It's rewarding for
That's
sure.
right.
Yeah, that's what life's all
I'll
about.
I'll reemphasize what Claudia said. If you are an employer out there and you think you might have an opportunity to enrich the lives of one of these people, you should do it. Go take a tour. Just go walk on campus
Mhm.
and have Claudia and her staff show you around. It will absolutely change your life. I cannot stress this enough.
Thank you, Kevin.
And I
Thank
hope
you.
that
means
you
a
get-
lot.
I hope you should get something out of this because I think what you're doing is absolutely. There's so many stories in Scottsdale that we talk about every day on this podcast, but I particularly want to bring attention to what you're doing, and I hope that you get some benefit out of this.
Thank you so much. It really is an honor to be able to share our story, and we don't want to be the hidden gem of Scottsdale.
No,
You can tell it's coming from Kevin. You can tell it's coming from Kevin's heart right here too. So, Claudia, great conversation today.
Thank
We
you.
could talk forever, but we're sort of at our time now. So, it's been a pleasure getting to know you, and we'll come see you at Stars for sure. I hope others
Please.
people will too. So, let's not make that a hidden secret here anymore. So, thanks to all of you for listening. Also, our podcast is sponsored by Scott, the Scottsdale Coalition of Today and Tomorrow. Check us out at our website, scottnow.com, and please share our podcast with your friends and don't be shy and come back next week for another episode of Today and Tomorrow in Scottsdale.